Tom Slingsby is an Australian sailing legend. He's an Olympic gold medalist, an America's Cup champion, and now a two-time SailGP champion.
And the Australians, with Tom Slingsby, win SailGP Season 1.
Well, I think Tom's one of the best in the world. The results do the talking.
No, he's a great sailor. He's got a great team.
He's always been the best at what he puts his mind to.
Masterful job from Tom Slingsby in Australia, winning again SailGP Season 2.
He's obviously an amazing sailor. No, we just love competing against him.
Tom Slingsby is one of the very best.
But look, it's a team sport. There's 6 people on the boat, and Australia has an extremely strong team.
And Tom Slingsby wins yet again the first Grand Prix of Season 3.
When you think about, the top sports people in their sport, you think of Rafael Nadal, Lionel Messi, LeBron James, and Tom Slingsby is that to sailing.
Okay, Stevie, you're live in 5, 4, 3, and cue Stevie.
Team Australia do it again and win the T-Mobile United States Sail Grand Prix. It's the 5th consecutive win in a run that started in Season 2. They won in Cadiz, they won in Sydney, they won in San Francisco, and they've won the grand final to take home $1 million. Then they went on to win the Season 3 opening Grand Prix in Bermuda, and now they win yet again here in Chicago.
So Australia keeps putting themselves in winning ways, and I think, Emily, the question is now, does everyone think that Australia is vulnerable, they're beatable, or are they just on a roll?
I think everyone's beatable at this point.
Okay, stand by for interview with Tom Slingsby. He's ready to go, and cue Stevie.
Is there anyone that you can see stopping you at the minute?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of teams that can beat us out there. We've just got to keep doing what we're doing and keep this good run running.
Other teams seeing us being consistently on top, you can tell that they're not happy about that. You feel it, when we win an event and you walk around the base, we're all excited and obviously happy, and you can tell that there's a dampened mood that, not the Australians again.
When you are at the top, it gets a bit tricky. At SailGP, we've been on top really for 3 years, and we've had all these teams and the best sailors in the world scratching at our heels and trying to pull us down and overtake us and do anything they can to rattle us. If you're on top, the only way you can go is down. You can't go up any higher. You can only fall.
There's plenty going against us there. Nice work. Nice slinger.
Well, we've just seen something that a few weeks ago would have seemed unthinkable. The mighty Australian crew have crossed the finish line second. I repeat, second. I can see a lot of bookies in trouble right now.
And guess who has broken the Australian fairy tale? The Aussies' eternal rivals, the New Zealand SailGP team led by Mr. Peter Burling and Blair Toope.
So the first team to steal the victory off Australia is New Zealand in Plymouth. And then the first moment that we saw the target on Australia is in Copenhagen.
It's the pre-start, and oh my, Denmark is turning towards Australia.
You feel it a little bit in the start lines, There's a certain balance between all the teams to rack up the line and get a good start all together, and there's gaps, and you can tell that people look at us and they just will close those gaps and say, no, not for the Australians, we need them to do bad, so.
We're in leg 4, close boat-on-boat racing between Denmark and Australia. Nikolaj Sejersted really putting pressure on the champion.
Anyone who had the opportunity to push Australia around, to get a penalty on them, they took it.
Hey, Aussie's going to be slow. Yep, I think outside Josie's angle. Hey, get up! Protest rest.
This is the umpires. Penalty Australia, it was relative Denmark.
Oh no, Australia's been penalised. They'll now have to drop to 5th.
Gather penalty.
Oh man, this is gonna suck.
Now the fleet has lifted, so if he's in the back hack and having to fight it out, he can turn an 8th into a 5th, but he can't turn an 8th into a 1st anymore.
Wow, breaking news. Australia's not qualified for the Sail Grand Prix final. For any other team, well, this probably would just be a usual event, but for the Aussies, we could almost say this is new territory. And as Tom's performance has slightly dropped, Peter Burling's rapidly racing to the top. The Kiwis qualified for the final after dominating all the races here in Copenhagen.
I think if you look at any great sporting dominance, there comes a time where that team loses or that person loses and everyone's shocked and question, why did you lose? What happened?
Anyway, well done, mate. Well done.
Wow, survival conditions here on the first day of the Range Rover France Sail Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fastest you're going to see an F50 fly. Stay safe out there. Any mistakes today could be potentially fatal.
Australia is leading race 1, but watch out for the Kiwis. They have started last, and now they are gunning for P1.
The Kiwis, they were full of confidence, and it felt like Pete and his guys were really trying to dig the screw in.
Last leg of the race, New Zealand's coming fast from behind. Pressure's on the leaders, Australia. The Kiwis have the right of way. They're speeding up. This is a drag race to the finish. Watch out, the Kiwis are heading towards the Aussies.
Kiwis, close. Coming up.
Australia, they've got to keep clear of New Zealand. Oh, my word.
They dip it.
Oh, he's crashed down, New Zealand. What a move from Burling.
Saint-Tropez was a good example of a team capitalising on a situation where they could hurt us. I mean, we're in first and going towards the finish line, and the New Zealanders saw the opportunity to hurt us, and they had the right of way, but they took that aggressive approach.
Peter Burling, here he is, taking the win in race number 1.
Look at this for Slingsby. He was first at the last mark, Todd. He's absolutely dead in the water here.
That caused us to finish in 6th and miss the final potentially in that regatta. So that was definitely a key moment where you thought, okay, we don't have many friends out here.
Press protest. Hey, Craig, you can't have boats able to luff on the reach doing over 50 knots with 0 time to react. What New Zealand did there is going to break boats, kill people. Ridiculous.
That's no penalty. Australia, no penalty for me. No penalty New Zealand.
Mate, you just pour away into us. Pour away in there, mate. What are you talking about? We're aiming straight at the windward end, and you luffed it. Yeah, let's get some composure, you guys. We have damage and may not be our Craig, and we're blaming it on New Zealand. Ridiculous. Pete trying to kill people for a 1 point. We would have happily let him beat us.
We're fully within our rights of what we're doing now. I think as skippers we might need to pitch in for some anger management lessons for Tom. I think it's a bit out of line, the amount of swear words he was saying over the race management channel after the incident.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit nicer to have a few less expletives getting fired over the radios.
It is a tough one. Like, as a leader, I never want to show my emotion. I never want to get angry in front of the team. I want to be ice cold, but it's not me. I've tried to be that, and I actually find if I can go out there and just show no emotion for a race, but my sailing generally goes down.
You can see that. I don't want to use the word rivalry, but I am, like, that rivalry building because A, he's stolen 2 wins, and B, he wants to push Tom around the course.
God, they push it though. The amount of times I've turned up hard when I'm in the right to not have a collision with them, and they just think that I'm going to continuously do it, but eventually I'll just stop.
Always say something like,
"What's that?"
Pete is always when crossing, like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Was Peter Burling in the wrong pushing the issue? He didn't need to do it. Was it
He
just
did.
a little extra dig?
Todd,
Little
he
extra
did.
dig?
He did need to, because
He
otherwise
didn't
Tom said, "Oh, we'll be." When's Tom ever backed off and been second? Come on, Tom would have gone hammer down.
Like, if Tom had been in that position, he'd done exactly the same. It's just because the shoe's on the other foot. He's a little bit upset.
Does Tom get as upset if that's a Nikolai Sehested or Quentin Delapierre?
There's your question, isn't it? That's a bigger question. Has Pete got under his skin a little bit?
So we've had 4 events in a row. We're not seeing the Australia that we saw in Bermuda, that we saw in Chicago. And then comes Dubai, and we're seeing it again. We're seeing poor starts, bad decision-making, things going from bad to worse.
Penalty Australia, relative Spain.
Wow, Australia fighting with Spain to avoid a last place.
Yeah, we had an 8th and an 8th in the first 2 races. I was like, well, that's the end of this event. No team has ever come back from 2 8th places in the first 2 races to make the final.
Yeah, it was not a good atmosphere. For some reason, it wasn't clicking. Like, we weren't gelling. Just didn't feel like we're saying anywhere near our potential.
No, the Kiwis got away with it, just with a pretty good job.
Kiwis, they were just right there, and they just
got through it.
We were pretty slow going.
New Zealand are in second or third or something. They're going to gain 6, 7, 8 points on us in the overall championship. After that day one in Dubai, I was pretty inconsolable. I was upset. I didn't want to talk to anyone. But everything's about confidence. I can guarantee you when I hit the start line the next day, my mind is, I'm just going to win this race.